It's performance on the day that counts. And a perfect day here in London for this 1998 Silkwood Challenge Cup final. Pitch in its usual immaculate condition. Blue skies, a breeze, good crowd. What more could we want than 80 minutes Challenge Cup rugby? Usual vast numbers from Wigan and a good contingent from Sheffield. But the presentation, the Right Honourable Chris Smith, Secretary of State for Department of Culture, Media and Sports, just having a word there with Mike Nolan in his first season as a chairman. Andy Farrell, 22 years of age and already 3 Cup winners' medals in the bag. From Manly in Australia, Danny Moore and Gary Connolly, very experienced Wembley campaigner. Mark Bell, his first appearance here. Henry Paul. Tony Smith, an appearance here with Castleford. Former London Broncos Tony Mestroff. And Dennis Betts back to his old hunting grounds. Simon Horton in the second row, pacey, quick. We'll see plenty of him. And I think we'll see plenty of Neil Cowie there, a different type of player, hard, uncompromising. Mick Cassidy, a proud day for Mike Nolan, as I said, in his first season as the Wigan chairman. And across to Sheffield Eagles. But a very proud chairman, Tim Adams, and an even equally proud John Keir, former Castleford wing. First time any of these Sheffield Eagles players have played here in a final at Wembley. Michael Jackson, Martin Wood, we'll see him on the pitch at some stage. Darren Shaw from Australia. Dale Lawton, sensational form in the earlier rounds. Dave Watson, Kiwi. Keith Senior. And Fetu Taiwa, good campaigner in the centre. Nick Pinkney, one of the pace men out wide. And the first Fijian to start in a cup final by Saleh Savatabur. Stuart Cummings from Widnes. Steve Presley, the reserve referee. The 2 touch judges there, standing gallantly to attention. Frank Hawley and Paul Hewitt. And the 2 in-goal judges, Mr. Walton and Mr. Wright. And very shortly the dignitaries will stand at the side whilst the crowd are asked to be upstanding for the national anthem. Colin Welland in there as ever. Sheffield Eagles' first ever appearance, not to be overpowered by the huge Wigan contingent that's travelled down the M1. But the Sheffield Eagles' John Lawless is handed the number 9 jersey in the middle of what is a very powerful front row of Broadbent, Lawton and himself. And centre Keith Senior, who missed the semi-final through suspension, he returns in the middle of that 3-quarter lineup. Wigan fielding a full-strength side with Henry Paul returning from international duty in New Zealand last weekend. Heel partner Tony Smith at half-back, and skipper Andy Farrell moves from standoff to his usual loose forward position, number 13 and skipper. Over 204 points, including 37 tries, illustrate the Eagles' attacking flair in the earlier rounds. But Wigan coach John Mooney has always put great emphasis on defence. Just 4 tries conceded in the 4 previous rounds. Paul Broadbent, the skipper, over 300 appearances for Sheffield, served a long apprenticeship, 11 seasons at the Eagles. A day he's looked forward to for so long. And Andy Farrell, just 22 years of age, making his 4th visit on Cup Final Day, just 5 years after his first as a 17-year-old. And not forgetting the man in the middle there, Stuart Cummings from Widnes. Andy Farrell just giving the instructions. Stuart Cummings making a record-equalling 3rd successive appearance in a final at Wembley. He emulates the feat of Wakefield whistler Ron Gelder in the 50s. No history of any meeting in the Challenge Cup between these two sides, but one of those wins in the league matches for the Eagles as recent as last season, 24-22 at the Don Valley Stadium. Sheffield's first appearance, and Wigan, what a record. 16 wins in 25 appearances in the Challenge Cup. Dennis Betts in his 8th final, as keen as ever for another medal. Players anxious to get going in this, the 1998 Sidcup Challenge Cup final. Sheffield Eagles, the underdogs, and the biggest odds-on favourites in a century, Wigan. Joe, you know what it's like to play for Wigan. You know what it's like to be favourites here at Wembley. How must Sheffield be feeling now?
They'll just be interested in this first opening 10 minutes. They really want to. All the talk's been of Wigan dominating this match right from the start. But I think Sheffield have different plans, and they really want to settle into this game as quickly as possible, get a feel for the ball, get a feel for the occasion, and really cause Wigan some problems. That's their aim. Well,
John Keir will have had the computer working overtime. He'll have done his video analysis on every one of these Wigan players. The Sheffield Eagles side will know exactly the tactics, and I think that will be the tactics early on there, Joe, is to play the game in the Wigan half.
That's right, they don't want to be in the shadow of their own post at all, or as little as possible. They'll play the sets of 6 out steady and then put a long kick in, hopefully downfield.
And Richard Duckingfield, as usual on Wembley Day, down on the touchline with us there. What news, Dick?
Yes, Ray, just as warm on the benches as we're accustomed to, but warmer on the pitch. Interesting, Henry Paul, of course, back from international duty in New Zealand. He was the only player 2 hours ago who came onto the pitch. Gary Connolly was throwing balls at Henry Paul, giving him passes, giving him a thorough workout for this game.
Robbie McCormick trying to make rolls from the acting half-back. Merstroff moving in out wide there. Good passing, but that's a good tackle. Crunching tackle there by Keith Senior. Tony Smith. That's that wind there, Joe, causing problems already.
Causing problems, but a pleasing start for Sheffield. Not only they played their first set of 6 out, got a good kick and a good chase, but also they stopped Wigan straight away. Fantastic tackle by Keith Senior in the centre spot. Cut out the movement. Chris Radlinski, the full-back from Wigan, tried to join the line, and then they're pleased with that. Then they forced the error with Wigan kicking out on the full. So now they get another chance now, Sheffield, to bring the ball out to their own half and set this platform that we so often talk about.
Keith Senior, 5 tries already in the earlier cup rounds. Dave Watson from Waitara, North Island in New Zealand. He'll have a good following there with the Kiwis watching this final. Sheffield will want to play out the sets of 6 very, very carefully, very, very methodically in this early stages. Dale Lawton. That's a good kick in this wind. Radlinski's there, he's taken it well. Good leap and catch there by Chris Radlinski. He has the height, he's 6'1".
Great take from Chris Radlinski, the Wigan full-back. His opposing number, Savatabua, put a lot of pressure on him, but he kept his eye on the ball, kept calm. He's looking into the sun, but still managed to take a great ball.
Wigan unbeaten so far this season. Sheffield winning just one league game against Huddersfield since their dramatic semi-final win over Salford. Andy Farrell using that left foot to good effect, just catching Savatabua a little out of place. Follows in the footsteps of Bradford substitute Carlos Hassan from the Pacific Islands to entertain us here at Wembley. Good running.
Sheffield have started very early by splitting their attacking pattern, having options both sides of the ruck, and that's very important. They have to cause Wigan problems in defence, and it's essential that they do split their attack and give the Wigan defence different variations to look at.
That's good handling from Doyle, senior. He's got the wingman Crowther with him. Good support inside there from Paul Carr. Can he get the ball away? He does. Broadbent gets there. Tremendous attack down that left-hand side on the fifth tackle. Robinson's underneath it. Oh, he's missed it! Pickney's in there for the first try.
Well, plan one comes exactly right for John Keir and his team. They worked it up the left-hand side. They went to the air then with the kick from Aston. It was a beautiful kick into the corner. Jason Robinson, the wingman, number 2 for Wigan, was in the right position but just couldn't get off his feet to catch the ball. Didn't jump high enough. And there's the man who scored the try, Nick Pinkney.
John Keir did say all week that he would put some high kicks on Jason Robinson, Joe.
Well, he obviously looked at him. He's not the tallest player on the field. He couldn't get up for that one. There was a lot of pressure on him, but Nick Pinkney did very, very well. Kept his eye on the ball. Watch him as he climbs above them. The 2 Sheffield players there. Nick Pinkney claims it. And that's downward pressure. That's a great try to start off the game.
Jason Robinson acknowledged as one of the world's best wingers, but he is only 5'7" in height. It is a problem when you're taking a high kick like that. Mark Aston then from the touchline just edges across the face of the post there. So the underdogs in the lead already here at Wembley, 4-0. And what price the bookmakers odds after kicks like this, Joe?
Well, the key to us, they went to the left, Sheffield. They attacked the touchline side, and then when the defence of Wigan was stretched, they put the kick right across field, and there's Pinkney to collect it.
Nick Pinkney there, the try scorer. 4 tries against the amateurs from Egremont. And another lad there from Cumbria, Holgate, from the Hensingham club. Prolific breeder of professional players.
If there were any complacency in the Wigan side or any overconfidence, then I'm sure that would have knocked it out of them. They realised right from the set now, right from the beginning, that they're in for a tough game. But what it will have done, Ray, that first try is really calm Sheffield down. They've controlled the ball well in the first 2-3 sets of 6 tackles. They've kicked well, and then what more could you ask for than a try from your first real attacking move?
Good attacking though here from Tony Smith. This boy's got plenty of pace. Oh, and he's showing it. Savatabua did well though there to hold him. Well, he hasn't held him yet. He's finally helped to get him down. But that's a good reply there from Wigan. Robinson to Henry Paul. Farrell looks to get the ball out wide to Radlinski. They've got a chance here. The ball's gone loose. Not often we see Gary Connolly, Wigan number 4 there, losing the ball.
It'll be interesting to see who gives the ball to this scrum. It seemed to be knocked out by Mark Aston, but I think the referee will give the feed at the scrum to Sheffield. Gary Connolly was carrying the ball in front of him. Mark Aston did knock it down, but the referee has judged that it was a Wigan knock-on, and therefore Sheffield will get the feed out the scrum.
Yeah, really, it should have been a Wigan head and ball, Joe.
I think so. I know one player won't be arguing with that, and that's Mark Aston there.
Well, John Keane has employed a sports psychologist for the last couple of weeks to help prepare this side to face Wigan. He certainly seems to have done something for the side's confidence. Dale Lawton, a side that cost just £7,000 14 years ago to assemble. Now worth a few bob more, the only club listed on the stock exchange. And again, Mark Aston employing those kicks down the touchline. I'm sure Aston will have been told that Sheffield must keep Wigan down in that 20-metre area in these opening stages.
And if he has a preference for kicking, it'll be towards Bell as well. He won't really want to kick to Jason Robinson. I mean, I know he scored the try off the high kick, but those kicks that turn the side round, probing kicks, putting the ball through along the floor, he'll want to kick those to Belly. I think John Keir, the Sheffield coach, will view Mark Bell as being less of a threat at bringing the ball back than Robinson.
It's significant already, Joe, isn't it, that they've been kicking to Bell along the floor. He's a 6-footer. They've been kicking high to Jason Robinson, who's 5'7".
Exactly right. I mean, John Keir will have done his homework. You mentioned that right at the beginning, Ray. He'll have analysed this Wigan team, and if there are the few weaknesses that they have got, he will have analysed them over and over
again. Good dummy from Farrell. He's got Dennis Betts moving away, and here's Gary Connolly. Oh, superb interception there by Savatabour. Well, they called them the Eagles, and he went high there. He was up in the air for that. Just look at those hands there, Joe.
If he'd have missed it, there would have been a triumph for Simon Horton, who was in support from Gary Connolly. But Savatabour in the right place, confident in his own abilities. Good defence too.
Paul Broadbent. Watson launching an attack down that far side. Paul Carr, former Hunslet and South Sydney player. And there is another one of those Mark Aston kicks. Carr just having a breather.
This is the fourth occasion where Aston has kicked from right centre field to the left-hand side. And that's the reason, because they don't think that Bell will pose the threat that his other teammate Jason Robinson does when bringing the ball back after the kicks.
Wigan doing well to open out the play there, but Savatabour covering Danny Moore well. Redlinski. Lying on at the play of the ball. Referee Cummings very, very keen to see quick play the balls, Joe.
Yes, he was a fast, clean game. And that was the right decision. They were just a second too long, making sure that the Sheffield defensive line had got back and was set, but you can't impede the player.
Tony Smith and Farrell combining well there in midfield. Betts down this left-hand side again. Not a high tackle, I don't think, around the chest there from David Watson. Jason Robinson, now then, this is danger. It reminds me of that cartoon figure, the Road Runner, when he gets the ball.
Well, I'm convinced he's rubber, this fella. You know, you think you've got hold of him, you think you've made the tackle, he suddenly springs back up and he's off again before you can even catch your breath.
Pressure on Sheffield Eagles now, but that's a good tackle. Connolly, well read there by David Watson. Very experienced Kiwi, 30 years of age, 15 Kiwi test caps. Knew what Connolly was intending there. Swept along behind the front line. Eagles coming away nicely from the line.
That was Dale Lawton. They're expecting a big game from him, the Sheffield coaching staff. They realise that they need his forward strength, the momentum that he gives the Sheffield Eagles, really taking the pack forward and the team forward. And they're really looking for a big game from the prop forward today.
And for the third occasion, Aston putting the ball down to that corner. Picked up well by Redlinski, combining well with Robinson. Oh, he knocks two off.
You see what I mean? The kick to the left-hand side, Ray, this time, but Jason Robinson had tracked across, helped his full-back out and taken the ball down the right wing, for his opposite wing that he's supposed to be on. But that's what you have to expect from Jason. He can pop up anywhere, and just when you think you've tackled him, off he goes again.
Simon Horton. Former Dudley Hill amateur players, a lot of products from the British Amateur Rugby League in the ranks of both of these teams. McCormick showing all his experience, third and acting half-back, but not the best of passes. Betts. Good tackling there by Johnny Lawless, the hooker, number 9 for Sheffield. Farrell launching Connolly down that far side, but Keith Senior doing well to hold him.
Good defensive work by Keith Senior. He knew there was an overlap on that occasion, but he just...
Oh, there's a chance! Oh, well, Savata Boer just managed to get that arm to the ball. That was a danger for the Eagles.
Well, I'm singing the praises of Sheffield on defence. A lapse there by Savata Boer. He let the ball bounce. It's very difficult to control and know where it's going to bounce. He let it go. It had height and went over his head. And he only just got one fingertip to that to knock it dead and prevent a try.
But that was clever play from Andy Farrell as well, Joe. He saw that there was a large unguarded area in that corner.
The Eagles' tactics are dictated by that most meticulous of coaches, John Key. Amply revealed now. The tactics are pin Wigan back in the corners when you've got the opportunity. Play them in the Wigan half. You don't want to play a team like Wigan in your own half.
John Keir sitting right at the back of the Wembley Stadium there so that he gets a very good overall view. Oh, and he's got a view of this, has he? Wigan at their most dangerous. McCormick to Tony Smith. Farrell's lurking out wide there. Slips the ball inside to Redlinski. Can't get it back. Picked up well there by the Sheffield Eagles cover.
A planned move here from Wigan with Chris Redlinski, the fullback, coming in the line off a short pass from Andrew Farrell. The last pass, though, to a support player, which would have been a try, went to ground, and Sheffield gladly drop on the ball. They'll take their time bringing this one away, I'm sure.
Well, ambitious play there, opening it out. Matt Crowther, number 6, on the left wing. Paul Carr doing the sensible thing, just taking away Mark Aston. Took a heavy knock. Certainly John Keir will be very, very worried about him. A key player in the Eagles side. Radlinski, he's got some space out here. Gets it to Danny Moore. Good cover tackling. He doesn't look very good, looks a little groggy, but he's carrying on.
He looks very groggy, Ray. And he's so influential. I mean, we're already in this first opening 10 minutes, we've seen him so often kick. He is the player that really dictates where the kicks go. He's the one that kicks them down the field and makes sure that they turn the defences round, and without him there, it'll be a sad loss.
Farrell. Mistake there from Betts. Gratefully picked up. Savata Boer opening out again down that left wing. They're certainly not playing safety first football when they're in their 20-metre line.
No, they're oozing with confidence, don't you? You think that they were the experienced team, you think they were the odds-on favourites the way this game started.
Martin Wood limbering up there. Moves forward. Well, it may possibly be a replacement for Mark Aston. Wood has played at half-back on numerous occasions, especially for Keighley Cougars. And significant there, Joe, it wasn't Mark Aston taking the kick, was it?
No, different kicker, same tactic though, down that left-hand side again.
Betts. Well, Aston's into the tackle there, but he still looks a little shaken up. Oh, crunching effort there from Paul Carr and Dale Lawton.
Nice little reception.
Henry Paul knows he's back from that test in New Zealand. Tony Smith. Farrell. Well covered by Watson. Henry Paul, outstanding for New Zealand in their win over Australia last week.
And confirmation from the Eagles bench that Mark Aston took a heavy blow to the head. He's groggy, according to the staff on the bench, but his head is clearing. He should stay on if he can.
Andy Farrell trying to repeat the tactic that he did on that right-hand side. And there we see those kicks. 5 kicks already, Joe, playing out the tactics of John Keir.
I think his head clearing as well. He's already shouting to his forwards again, taking control of the situation. And that's Mark Aston for you.
And a difference there in the scrum halves. Tony Smith, not a single kick, all that work left to Farrell, but the runs, that's the danger from Tony Smith, isn't it?
That's where the Sheffield Eagles really have to watch this half-back pairing of Wigan. Smith, one of the hot tips for the Lance Todd Trophy this afternoon. He certainly has the ability to fulfil that ambition of his.
Tony Smith, very quick, speedy lad, £150,000 buy from Castleford. It's warm work down there, the sun really beating down there now. No point running or racing to a scrum. Forwards, experienced forwards, take the time. Radlinski to Moore. It's like little and large out here on this wing. Big Danny Moore, 6'4", and Robinson, 5'7". Andy Farrell, Betts. Dennis Betts lurking a lot down this left-hand side, Joe. Does he favour that?
Definitely, he likes to run in this left channel. Both him and Andrew Farrell. Andrew Farrell more of a complete player now that likes to get about the field, but Dennis Betts' favourite channel definitely is the left-hand side, and I think the number 3, Fetu Taiwa from Sheffield, will be seeing a lot of Dennis during this game.
Savatabur making a fumble, but recovering.
Well, it's his mistake number 2, right on his own line for Savatabur. He won't want to make too many more of those.
Just 20 minutes gone in this first half here at Wembley, and I think that certainly John Keir will be a very, very happy man, and so will those Eagles players, to have withstood the expected Wigan onslaught and to be in the lead. And there we can see, Joe, 58% of the time Wigan have been in Sheffield's half, yet they haven't put a point on the board yet.
Exactly right. I mean, the one chance, really, the main chance that has come in this game was to Sheffield, and they took it.
Mark Bell, a big match player, played in grand finals in Australia with St George.
Now, because of Mark Aston's muzzy head, Rod Doyle has taken over the kicking for Eagles, and significantly his last 2 kicks have failed to find touch, so that could be significant in this game, because the tactics are to kick to the corners and keep Wigan pinned back.
Interesting to see, Joe, the Sheffield penalised for the second time lying on the ball. I remember having a conversation with John Keir. He said if you can stretch the time at the play of the ball from 3 seconds to 4 seconds, you can get your men back in defence.
It doesn't sound a lot, does it? Just 1 second difference, but it might be 3 steps in defence as you're going backwards to set your line, and that's an awful lot.
Dennis Betts. But this defence of Sheffield is very, very strong in midfield. Holgate. Wigan edging nearer now. Tony Smith. Good passing movements out wide there. Good burst from Henry Paul. Oh, but Savatabur held him well. And has he lost the ball? He has. 1 or 2 Wigan players were claiming that the ball was stolen, but not so, says Mr. Cummings.
2 mistakes from the full-back, but he stopped Henry Paul there with a great tackle. Henry Paul trying to flick the pass out of the back. It went to ground, and I think it was Paul Carr that doubtfully dropped on that one.
And just looking at this opening session, Joe, I don't think I've seen Wigan drop as much ball for many, many years. They look the more nervous side.
They do. Maybe that underdog tag that John Keir was so happy to keep hold of. I mean, look at the handling errors there. 5 for Wigan. That is strange. You know, they certainly don't want to get up in double figures, but if they carry on at this rate, they could be heading that way. Significantly, no handling errors for Sheffield.
I think possibly what one or two of the experts don't realise is that 9 of these Wigan players have actually never appeared in a cup final here. One tends to take it for granted that Wigan players are here every year, but there has been a big change in personnel in the last 3 seasons at Central Park. But a long time to go yet, and Wigan have the pedigree. Smith to Paul. Not the best of passes, but well picked up by Danny Moore. Betts. Never lost in any cup round that he's played in. Smith again and Farrell, always those two in midfield, moving it out wide. Connolly trying to burst through there, but well held. Good tackling down that left line there by Paul Carr. Farrell in 2 minds as to what to do. Looks for Smith, he finds Smith, but Smith doesn't find the gap. Little bit of a misunderstanding, do you think there, Joe?
Well, they went for the kick. There was pressure put on Andrew Farrell to stop him. He then put the pass inside to Smith, and he couldn't find time to put boot to ball, and therefore was tackled on the last, and a turnover to Sheffield.
Sheffield have been penned in this half for quite some time, but they're handling the situation, and they are in the lead, 4-0.
And on the bench, it's time now when Wigan, you expect, will introduce the impact players, as they're called these days. Lee Gilmore is probably going to be one of the first to come on. Lee Gilmore warming up there. Terry O'Connor's with him. Neil Cowie's also been warming up. These impact players surely playing a part in this game quite soon.
I think Richard's exactly right there. I think what they'll do is they'll bring Gilmore on, probably put him in the second row, possibly move Simon Horton up to a prop and try and get a little more pace and mobility in the pack just before half-time.
And that was very, very mature play there from the Eagles. They were in a little bit of a trouble as the Wigan defence was coming up, but just look at Paul Carr there. Second row, eye on the ball. Perfect grubber kick, Joe.
I'm sure he'll remind Mark Aston about that several times during the following week.
And looks as though Paul Carr is leaving the field. Wigan in possession then, in those famous cherry and white jerseys. Robinson darting, dodging around, but he hasn't quite got away yet. Betts. Paul Carr just getting a handshake and a well done off the Eagles bench. And a well-earned rest for the Aussie. Harrell, oh, back inside well to Tony Smith. Another glimpse of the speed of this scrum half on the 5th tackle. And again the kick goes dead, and again that was because Andy Farrell had got very little time in which to put that kick. Stephen Holgate leaving the field, Neil Cowie coming on. A very experienced player here, and Michael Jackson on. Jackson more of a running type of forward.
He's hopefully John Key will bring Michael Jackson on now and make an impact. Both teams making substitutions before half-time, and that's why they want to do it. They want to bring people on who'll run, fresh legs to run at the defence, cause a few problems, unsettle teams, but both Wigan and Sheffield have brought players on.
Dave Watson brings Nick Pinkney in well there. Oh, and Pinkney stretching out those legs. Just can't get away though. Looking to link up there with Keith Senior, I think. Crowther back inside. A good break here from Crowther. Can he get the ball away? He does. Oh, looking for support on the 5th tackle. They're going to run it. Crowther again. Eagles, they've got an overlap down this side. Watson, back inside to Pickney. Just can't get there, but good play again. Forceful play, adventurous play there from the Eagles. And it's Wigan's turn to defend. Oh, well, he played it to nobody. Sheffield Eagles ball, Pickney. Petu Tyler.
That was a huge mistake from Wigan there. I think Jason Robinson was a little bit dizzy, a little bit groggy. Didn't realise he should have been acting half-back to pick up the ball.
All Broadbent. Dave Watson. Wigan's defence shuttling across. Oh, he's going for the corner. Crowd has picked it up. On the corner there. The long pass deceived everybody. Oh, Matt Crowder. His 9th try in the Challenge Cup. And the 23-year-old Scottish international is in at the corner. Sensations here for the Sheffield Eagles supporters. 14 years in rugby league and they've never known a half hour like this. Sheffield 8, Wigan 0, and the bookmakers' odds turned on their head.
Long pass, there might have been a bounce in it, but on the wing lurking there was Matt Crowther, as you say. Enough time to get that ball down. Sheffield's second try, what a start. Just 2 passes across the line. There you are. The final one wasn't the best of passes, but it caught Wigan napping. Gary Connolly didn't have time to get across and cover.
Well, there wasn't a wingman out there, was there? I couldn't see Mark Bell out there at all. So, Mark Aston with the kick from the touchline. Has he judged those wins? He has! Superb effort from the Eagles halfback. 28 goals prior to today. Another one there. And no wonder those Sheffield fans are dancing. Sheffield Eagles 10, Wigan 0. Have we got the shock of all time here at Wembley?
As we watch this pass come out from Sheffield Eagles, I think Gary Connolly, the Wigan centre, expected to have a wingman outside him. There wasn't one there. Bell had gone missing. Crowther was there for the try.
In fact, Connolly did very, very well, not only to come in here, as we see, but he also managed still to move out wide there, didn't he? We can see Mark Bell, he'd come in for the inside centre. But Joe, I'm sure our viewers and the thousands of fans here will know, no one must ever write off Wigan.
No, but they're making a mockery of the odds from the bookmakers. 14-1 on Wigan to win this competition here at Wembley, but Sheffield obviously didn't read those odds.
Robinson now trying to get himself into the game there in midfield. McCormick increasing the pace and the tempo. Neil Cowie. And Lee Gilmore, the youngster, another speed merchant, has played on the wing. Stephen Holgate, regular prop forward, on the bench at the moment. So Wigan coach John Mooney moving the substitutes around. Savata, but oh, that was risky. Well.
I think something might have aggravated Wigan.
I don't know what that psychologist said, Joe, but I think I'll have a session with him.
You'll need a couple of sessions, Ray. Was a bit risky in the end goal to pass, but he had no option. It could have been tackled in the... As it happened, Wigan made sure that the Sheffield Eagles were pinned well back. Great chasing team there from Wigan after the kick.
Just over 8 minutes remaining in this first half, and a bad mistake there from Sheffield Eagles. And this is usually the time when Wigan pounce. A very important set of 6 tackles here for Wigan. Robinson going from the acting half-back position there, trying to suck in the forwards, create an overlap out wide when it eventually goes there. Tony Smith having a second go. Suddenly, the Wigan fans getting behind their favourites now, and that's a penalty again. Third occasion, lying on at the play of the ball. Now, Joe, is it worth the shot at goal?
I think they will do. I think Andrew Farrell, the captain, will want to put this one between the posts for 2 points. They would have liked more, I'm sure. Dave Watson's the offending player for Sheffield. He's been involved in a couple of times holding down the Wigan players, just slowing the play of the ball down, letting his defensive line get set. We've mentioned it before. You'll have to be careful, though, because the referee, Stuart Cummings, won't stand for it too long. I'm sure he's already given a couple of verbal warnings.
Well, he can send a player to the sin bin, Joe, can't he? I mean, what we saw there as well was Dave Watson turning the Wigan man over onto his back. Again, that adds another, what, half a second, if you like.
Exactly right. But you can't hold them down too long. The referee will keep a close watch on it.
Andy Farrell then needing to put some points on the scoreboard for Wigan, and he does. Wigan finally register their first points here in this Silk Cup 1998 Cup final. Just a goal, but they edge a little nearer. 10 points to 2 for the Yorkshiremen. Chris Radlinski. Well picked up. Gail Lawton only took up rugby as a 16-year-old when his brother asked him to fill in for the Dodworth Amateurs. Darren Smith. Oh, and that's an ill-judged kick there by Johnny Lawless. I think both sides, Joe, are having difficulty with this wind. It's quite a strong wind, isn't it? And, well, you know yourself as a full-back, it swirls around here at Wembley.
It does tend to gust round, but I think a little bit of rush of blood. I don't think it was a win, really. Johnny Lawless, the hooker, instead of passing it to Mark Aston or one of his teammates who normally kicks, he kicked from acting the half-back, and that really was a poor kick, wind or no wind.
Neil Cowie. Horton. Determined effort here now from the Wigan side. Cowie again. Shrugs off a couple of tacklers. Lawless is in there.
This is where we're going to like to attack from centre field.
Farrell. Good tackle. And Crowther, he's got away. Now then, can he go the full length of the field? Radlinski's cutting across, but he's cut inside himself. Good cover there by Wigan. Robinson and Radlinski doing well there. But Sheffield back at the other end of the field. They've got an overlap on this side. Lawless back inside to Savatabur. The Eagles, they need a quick play of the ball. They've got one. Has he gone the wrong way, Lawless? I think he has. They're all lined up on the left. Desperate defence here from Wigan. Watson across to Aston. Oh, and it's Sheffield Eagles key senior. He throws it into touch. The chance was there. And will Sheffield Eagles regret that missed chance?
I'm sure they will. What had happened? Crowther, the winger, had come back inside, seen he didn't realise, already made his mind up to pass it out wide. And once the winger stepped back in, the ball went into touch. It was a chance, and an excellent chance too.
So suddenly, from Wigan, looking to post a try just before half-time, just managing to save one against them. Farrell, Robinson, just can't get away. Again, well picked up by the Kiwi from Jackson Bay in the South Island, Fetu Taiwa. Betts. Lots of problems, I think, for John Mahoney and his assistant coach, Andy Goodway.
It's a coaching team that won't be fazed by it, although they'll want to stay patient. They want the team to stay patient. The players, the Wigan players, really to keep calm and just keep probing away. they realise there's an awful long way to go in this game.
Pinckney needs to bring that ball out very, very quickly. Batutaiwa sensibly holding onto the ball. I think Savatabur was calling for it, but Eagles just need to take this ball away from the Acton half-back. And holding down by Wigan this time. Relief for the Eagles.
Possibly a little shell-shocked here, Wigan. They've been on the back foot for a couple of minutes now. And they give the penalty on this occasion for holding down.
He's lost the ball. Play on, says Mr. Cummings. He's judging that the ball actually went behind the Eagles player.
He was held by his touch judge, Frank Hawley, on this side, who had a perfect view of it. He signalled to the referee that it was all right, but that one's not. The referee in the right spot there to give the penalty, judging that the Wigan player pulled the ball out. If there's 2 men in the tackle, you can't do that.
Just a minute remaining in this first half. A set of 6 tackles here now from Sheffield Eagles. Wigan will be desperate to hold them out here.
Don't be surprised with a minute left that the message might have gone on to Sheffield for a drop goal. If they work centre field here.
Well, that's what they're doing there with Dale Lawton, Joe. Got Doyle to Jackson. Jackson injecting a little speed into the pack. Watson again to Paul Broadbent. Couple of tackles remaining. Here is an attempt at drop. Mark Aston, and he's given it. Mr. Cummings judging that the ball went over the crossbar there. 39 drop goals from Mark Aston, and as Joe Lydon predicted, the one-pointer, 11 points to 2, and Sheffield come away again with more points.
Wise by the coach and by the players from Sheffield. The clock was ticking down. Mark Aston realised 1 point would keep the scoreboard clicking forward in the right direction as far as they're concerned. Took the chance well.
And in stoppage time here in the first half, I think Joe will see a very, very long kick right down to that Wigan line.
Yes, I think they'll expect one or two tackles before the half-time hooter sounds.
There's the hooter. So Wigan, the mighty Wigan, at the moment struggling here in the first half. A great 40 minutes for John Keir. He'll be wanting to settle this side down. They mustn't get too excited. They mustn't feel this game is over, because no match is over until that whistle blows when Wigan are playing. What do you think John Moan is going to be saying, Joe?
Well, I think he'll have to say that that they'll have to wait and just be patient in this second half.
Steve Deakin, Sheffield Eagles assistant coach, you've taken your chances. The tactics look just right so far.
Yeah, we were really confident before the game. We had two major tasks. One, for the first 30 minutes, we wanted to finish 85% of our ball control. And two, we wanted to go out with the mentality of goal-line defence on all areas of the pitch.
But Wigan have made some mistakes, uncharacteristically, haven't they?
Yeah, but I think that's largely due to the fact that we've been putting a lot of pressure on them defensively.
They're going to come out fired in the second half, though, I would imagine.
Well, I would imagine John Mooney's got to look after his team. All we've got to do is just make sure that we continue in the same vein.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you very much.
So Sheffield Eagles certainly going in for a good rest, but they look very calm going in there, Joe. It was interesting to see Mark Aston calming them down, and Broadbent, I think, saying, look, don't get excited, this game isn't won.
If I didn't know better, I'd think that looking at them, they were expected to be in this position walking down there. I was watching John Keir coming down the steps. He was in no rush to get into the dressing rooms for the half-time talk. Let his players calm down, let him have a nice walk down there, sit down, and he'll arrive in to give his team talk a little bit later.
Yep, a little bit later, and that's what we'll see shortly. Another exciting 40 minutes. It's not over yet.
Andy Goodway, it's a case, I think, of Eagles have done their work just right, but Wigan haven't, agreed?
No, I think Sheffield won the first half. You know, we know we're not playing that good out of the first half, so we know where the problems lie. We're going to try and correct those and win the second half.
The problems are in mistakes, surely. Wigan have made an untypical number of mistakes.
Yeah, we just feel that we're not turning the ball over on our terms, and that's what we've got to learn to, you know, get back to doing.
But not pessimistic yet, I suppose.
No, you know, the game's there to be won, and we can win it in the last minute as well as the first minute, so, you know.
Thanks, Andy.
40 minutes then to determine whether Andy Farrell will lift the Challenge Cup trophy for Wigan for the 17th occasion, or will Port Broadbent ensure Sheffield's name goes on that trophy for the first time. And I'm sure, Joe, that Wigan fans will be mindful of that Cup final a couple of years ago when their great rival St Helens were trailing by actually 26 points to 12 after 56 minutes, and yet still won the match.
Yeah, 14 points is a huge deficit. One man sitting in the studio, Sean McRae, will tell you all about that. I'm not sure what messages he sent on that day, but they certainly turned it round. Wigan have the ability, as Andy Goodway said, they feel quite confident in that ability, want to win the second half, but will it be enough to win the game?
Will it be enough? 11 points to 2, Wigan trail. But a tremendous burst there by Connolly. And I think Mr Watson's going to be spoken to for the head-high tackle.
Gary Connolly split the defence. Watson came right over the top. It was a high shot. And now Wigan have got from this penalty, you see Watson come over here, swinging arm, catches Connolly right in the middle of the face. Perfect platform now for Wigan to launch an attack so early in the second half.
And that infringement really puts pressure on the Eagles. Henry Paul to Betts. Tony Smith. Good slip inside there to Simon Horton, but that's good tackling again. Dale Lawton, the big Eagles prop, going round the legs. Oh, McCormick! He saw a gap there and he was almost through. Good recovery from the Eagles. Andy Farrell, he's got Henry Paul here. Paul, back inside to Lee Gilmore. Knock on. Not the best of passes, but Simon Horton had to bend low. He had to snatch at that ball. But once again, a mistake from Wigan, Joe.
They've annoyed themselves too. There were men wide over on the left for Wigan. Another chance gone begging.
8 handling errors for Wigan, Joe. They don't go through half a season with that many.
Uncharacteristic, but again, it was said at half-time by the coaching staff from Sheffield that they've been forced into those errors, Ray. It's not a case of just carelessness. They have been put under pressure by the Sheffield defence.
Neil Cowie throwing a punch, according to Mr Cummings. Let's have a look. Yes, well, half a punch. Mr Cummings just telling both sets of forwards to calm down, but plenty of stake in this second half. Dale Lawton.
There'll be a change very shortly on the Eagles bench. Darren Turner, who scored 2 tries in the Eagles' last game, will be coming on. You can expect him to replace Darren Shaw. So Turner, the Eagles' impact player, due in a minute.
There he is, limbering up. Paul Broadbent. This front row of Sheffield Eagles causing a lot of problems in the middle. Jackson running at an angle. He likes to do that for Sheffield. He's got a yard of extra pace in the back row there. He comes at an angle. Back again to Lawless. Well positioned there by Chris Radlinski.
Henry Paul there, down in back play. He took a knock to the face. I'm not quite sure what happened, but he looks in a lot of pain.
Looked to be his shoulder to me, Joe.
Yep, that's exactly right. He went in with a tackle, shoulder and neck. Exactly right. This is the Henry Paul incident. Michael Jackson running at full pelt. Henry Paul gets everything right, technically on the tackle, but in some pain there, Ray.
Well, he's still on the field. Farrell. I think, interestingly enough, Joe, kicking to Nick Pinkney's wing there. The sun in Pinkney's eyes now.
Exactly right, but we're going to look to do that. I think they'll look to put some high ball to cross-field as well, causing problems, as Sheffield did for Wigan in the first half. They now get the chance to kick down this left-hand side, run it out, have a scrum, get themselves set. There is Nick Pinkney to try score in the first half.
And the roar heard for the first time in rugby league of Eagles, Eagles going around the Wembley Stadium. Witness referee Stuart Cummings right on the spot, having a good game. A referee who really does have the respect of the players. Dave Watson, that's a good pass to Keith Senior. Matt Crowther. Salvatore. Good burst there by... Oh, he's let it go, but play on, I think, yes. Darren Shaw, former Brisbane and London Broncos player. Lawless.
Last tackle. They may go to the air again here on the right-hand side.
They do. Jason Robinson's underneath it again, and he's missed it. It's Sheffield Eagles in again. Dave Watson to Pinkney. Oh, it's a knock-on. Well, certainly they're putting pressure on Jason Robinson there, aren't they, Joe?
Well, it's a cruel game, this. If your confidence gone with kicking and you can't take the ball, they've already scored one try to Jason Robinson not being able to take the high ball. They tried again at the start of the second half.
Really what Jason Robinson needs is one of his sort of typical runs down the middle, doesn't he, to get his confidence back.
And I think, Ray, you'll see him quite a few times in the second half pick the ball up from acting halfback and take on the Sheffield defence. He isn't getting much ball in passing, so I'm sure he'll look to go and get the ball himself from an acting halfback position.
Betts. Wigan opening the ball out on that fifth tackle, again putting it behind Pinkney, but he does well to recover there. Good play. And Lawless doing the sensible thing, taking the ball away from the acting halfback whilst his team regroup. Salvatore. Strong lad, this Fijian international.
I was interested to hear Sean McRae's views at half-time. He felt that Sheffield, to win this game, really have to continue playing the same way. They don't want to consolidate or just sit on their lead. They really must continue playing the same way, and that's exactly right for me. And they've done that. Here we go again with them kicking down the left-hand side, playing out the sets of six.
It's clinical kicking from Aston, Joe, isn't it? He knows exactly what he's got to do, and he knows exactly where he's putting that ball.
Yep. There's Darren Turner on for the hooker, Johnny Lawless. Another tactical change by John Keir. And Mick Cassidy in the front row there. Normally plays in the second row. He's come on for Simon Horton.
Simon Horton's back on the Wigan bench. He's got a calf injury. He was limping as he came off. His right calf was heavily strapped, so it looks as though he's probably aggravated a calf strain that he had before this game.
It certainly is a hard game, is modern rugby league. That's why there are 6 interchanges from the 4 substitutes. Takes a lot out of the forwards. Henry Paul looks to be fully recovered now. Farrell. Back to Betts. But this defence from Sheffield, covering really well. They're moving across field. Oh, well taken. Well, I think Salvatore is saying to Sean McRae, you can throw anything at me, I'll take it. 13 passes, 9 kicks, and not a single run, because he's a playmaker, Joe, isn't he?
That's right, he organises, he'll put things around, you know, passes, it won't be one that darts through not to be unkind to Mark Aston, but he hasn't got the greatest speed, but what he does have is experience and great organisational skills. Couple that with his kicking ability, and you've got a great weapon in attack.
Aston again then, to Watson. Chris Radlinski covering well there, but isolated. Danny Moore coming back to help, as is Robinson. And Tony Smith, there is the difference. Not a single kick, but look at the runs.
But he likes to attack, he likes to run with the ball, he likes to cause defensive problems by making them make decisions, by running at them. If there's nothing on for himself, then he'll put the pass in, but you won't often find him kicking. He isn't a kicking player.
Half an hour remaining then in the 98 Challenge Cup final, and Wigan continue to make mistakes. This powerful defensive Sheffield Eagles, he's forcing them into mistakes.
Not only that, but the look Dennis Betts gave that Neil Cowie there for that pass, I'm not sure whether it was planned or whether he threw it. It was a bad pass, but they really are unsettled at the moment, Wigan.
Sheffield Eagles ball. Watson and Senior trying to probe down the middle. Good pass to Savatabua. Oh, he's got the ball around. No, he hasn't. Well intended, but on the second tackle, Joe, that was perhaps a little too adventurous.
A little bit risky. If it had come off, you're a hero. One thing that did go right for Sheffield, it was touched by a Wigan player.
Yep.
So it'll be the scrum feed to Sheffield. They've still got the attacking option on. Possibly a little better in the scrum here, and 6 tackles to play with.
John Morney, 4 appearances here as a coach, 4 wins. Deep in thought there. Watson. Keith Senior coming in midfield. 8 metres there now from that line. Paul Broadbent on the charge. Turner just held up, is he? No, the referee's having a word with the in-goal judge, and he's given the try. Oh, a shock. The substitute on there. He saw a gap just at the play of ball, and Garen Turner shot inside, and he scored. There was a little doubt. Mr. Cummings just checked with Stephen Wright, the in-goal judge. But let's have a look at this. Here he comes, and there's the ball, Joe.
Well, I wouldn't have backed him in that one. There were 3, possibly 4 Wigan players. Chris Radlinski, Neil Cowie's there. Mick Cassidy also on the line. He does get held up. He forces, he struggles, and just watch the right hand pop out and put the ball down. Bang on the line, and that's a try.
The ball on the line, and that is a try in rugby league. The Wigan players know it. Dennis Betts turns away.
A great view here on this angle. You see that right arm stretches out. Bang under the sticks. This won't be a problem for Mark Aston's kicking.
Aston, very cool, very calm, takes his time. Couple of deep breaths. And a couple of points. And surely Wigan are in serious trouble now. The expression on the fans and Andy Farrell's faces tell it all. And just look at those Sheffield Eagles fans. Their first appearance at Wembley for rugby league. And I don't think they've ever known a day quite like it. 17 points to 2. 54 minutes gone.
Wigan were expecting this. They had the numbers there to stop it, but couldn't. Turner just gets his right arm across the line. You look at the scoreboard now, Ray, 17-2, and there's not many people would have predicted that at this stage of the game. 17-2 to Sheffield Eagles.
Sheer strength and determination there from Darren Turner. Wigan now then will have to call upon all the skills that we know they have. They have the pedigree. Can they come back?
And on the Wigan bench, they're working furiously on Simon Horton, who came off with a calf strain. His right leg is getting an enormous amount of treatment. They really want to get Simon Horton back on the field as quickly as they can, although Horton himself seems to be a bit in doubt.
Yeah, some doubt there. We can see the Wigan physiotherapist carrying out repairs as Andy Farrell presses the Warriors towards the Eagles line. And Joe, we mentioned that St Helens came back from a record deficit of 14 points. Records are going to have to be broken now if Wigan come back.
Completely different for me this game though, Ray. The tempo isn't quite the same as that game against Bradford. There was a lot of points scored by both sides on the day, and St Helens were running hot with confidence at the time when they did come back. Wigan don't seem to have that at the moment. They seem to be at 6s and 7s. They don't seem, they're certainly committed, but they don't seem to have that confidence that they normally have. And that's been caused, oh dear, a mistake there by Keith Senior. Will give Wigan the ball in a good position. But that confidence has been knocked out of them really by Sheffield.
I think Keith Senior there was actually trying to get the ball as quick as he could to his wingman.
He was annoyed with himself. I think he just wanted to make sure he had hold of it before he took on the Wigan defence, and in doing so, spilled it.
Wigan then with a chance here. Scrum on the 20 metres line, trailing by 15 points. Henry Paul to Connolly. That's a brilliant burst by Connolly. Oh, and that's an equally superb ankle tap there by Dave Watson. That stopped a certain try. Jason Robinson. Robinson going for the corner. This is the Wigan of old now. McCormick to Tony Smith. But a tremendous tackle there by Turner. He spotted the problem. He moved up very, very quickly. McCormick again from the Acton half-back. Henry Paul to Betts. They've got space here. Bell's going into the corner. And Wigan have pulled a try back. Mark Bell, the former St George winger, puts some hope into the Wigan fans. 17 points to 6 for Sheffield. Now then, have we got a game on our hands?
No question of that, Ray. They're definitely a game. Some superb defence by Sheffield. They kept Wigan out 2-3 times. Then the ball comes to the right-hand side. Dennis Betts links up, and there's Bell to finish it off.
Yeah, it was a good pass from Henry Paul, Joe, wasn't it?
It was, and Gilmore, the substitute, in the line. Dennis Betts has a look, draws the man, Senior, finds Gilmore on the outside. Gilmore doesn't bother taking on the line. He just passes it straight on to Bell, who's in acres of space on the outside there. They're right back in it now, Ray. I tell you, we have got a game on our hands here.
And it's interesting to think, Joe, that it all came courtesy of that mistake, that drop ball by Keith Senior. You don't realise at the time what damage they can cause.
Well, that's it. I mean, Wigan have been the team in the first half. Certainly, they were dropping ball and making mistakes. Great kick by Farrell for another 2 points.
That's a tremendous boost for Wigan and their fans. Farrell slotting the kick over from the touchline. And suddenly the tempo goes up here at Wembley. 17 points to Sheffield, but the Eagles are not home yet by any means.
This is the play of the ball. McCormack went, fed Henry Paul, and there it goes again. Dennis Betts in the line. Gilmore on his outside, has the wingman Bell, gets into the corner. But it's those mistakes we talked about. Wigan made them in the first half, and Sheffield capitalised in the second half. One mistake there by Keith Senior, dropping the ball in his own half, and Wigan pounced.
And look at the difference in those Wigan defenders. Just look how quickly they're going up there now. Paul Carr, who's just come back onto the pitch, put down to the ground.
This will really test Sheffield, Ray. This, not only trying to bring the ball out here, but they're kicking into a breeze, quite a stiff one in this second half. So they'll have to look for yardage on this kick.
And a knock on. Hand over. In a way, Joe, I thought that Sheffield were actually playing the ball too quickly there. They should have slowed it down.
Possibly. I think they were just trying to give Mark Aston the time to kick. He actually used a good ploy there by giving it inside to Carl, but he failed to get a good kick in. It bounced, ricocheted off a couple of players. Wigan, once again, centre field, great scoring opportunity.
Wigan calling all the shots now. Dennis Betts calling on his years of experience here at Wembley. Betts and Farrell leading the way in this Wigan pack. There is Andy Farrell. The youngster Lee Gilmore was 20 years of age. Good long pass there to Paul. Paul, will he go himself? He tried. He's lost it. Play on, says Mr. Cummins, and Robinson's going in. Well, he finally blew up. He didn't play any advantage. I think he was playing advantage actually for Sheffield Eagles, but there was none there.
The Sheffield Eagles player went down to try and collect the ball from Henry Paul as he spilled it. It was McCormack that put his foot to it. The referee was in total control. He realised it wasn't play on. Pulled them back to the scrum. Jason Robinson would have claimed the try if they'd have given it.
20 minutes remaining. Sheffield leading by 17 points to 8. And just at the moment they're hanging in. They need to slow this ball down, take it away from the acting halfback, use the first receiver.
And there to do that is the captain, Paul Broadbent. Beans, his nickname. He'll know exactly what to do. Just take the ball over, as you say, slow it down, get set for a good kick, and as they did in the first half, turn Wigan round, put some pressure on them deep in their own half.
And Aston sensibly kicking downfield there. That's a good kick, puts pressure on Radlinski. And a good chase by Sheffield. 5 defenders up there, Joe.
Yeah, noticeably it was Mark Aston who went up centre field, cut off their options for Wigan. Chris Radlinski couldn't bring it back infield. He'd sprinted up after he kicked Mark Aston and really closed the Wigan options down.
Neil Cowie charging in. McCormack, oh, superb dummy from acting halfback. This small but experienced Aussie from the Hunter Mariners really beginning to move there now, as Wigan are. To Dennis Betts, Betts is through. He's got Tony Smith on the outside. Oh, tremendous tackle. Crunching cover tackle there. But it's still Wigan on the attack. Tywer saved the situation. Farrell to Cassidy. Back to Bell. He's in 2 minds. The 5th tackle. It's a tricky, swirling wind down there in that corner. But Henry Paul decides to run it. Wigan are looking dangerous here. Danny Moore. It looked a forward pass. It was a knock-on. And Gary Connolly throws the ball to the floor, and another chance goes begging there for Wigan.
It was really an open line. The overlap was always on. The pass just had to be collected. It dipped viciously for Gary Connolly. He couldn't collect it. I'm sure there are huge sighs of relief, not only from the Sheffield crowd, but the Sheffield players.
Sheffield now having to summon up all that self-belief in themselves, pulling on the reserves of energy.
That was one break, though, that rate by McCormack. They come the full length of the field and nearly scored, and that's what they're capable of, Wigan. Sheffield have been coached and know all about it, but they really have to try and stop them now. They have to stop them making progress in the tackle. They also have to stop them offloading.
Paul Carr has been brought back onto the field. He's a good, solid tackler. I think that's the department that John Cade will be looking for. Oh, and he's lost the ball again. Keith Senior having a problem in this second half with the handling. Henry Paul. There we see.
There was just too much pace on the ball from Doyle. I don't think you could really blame Senior on that occasion. But the last time they made a mistake in this position, Wigan scored on it.
And here's a chance for Wigan again. Wigan really throwing everything at Sheffield here now. To McCormack. They've got men queuing up out wide there. Betts. Good cover tackling there by Watson and Jackson. Robinson, McCormack. Robbie McCormack playing an influential part now. But loses the ball. And I think that was knocked down by Wigan player, Joe.
Well, it was Fetu Tawa, who I think got his hand to the ball to stop the pass being completed.
Yep, good decision there by the touch judge. Fetu Tawa causing the infringement. Good tackle. Crunching tackle there by Keith Senior. But Henry Paul spotting a gap. Senior was getting back a little late. 8 metres from the Sheffield line. Farrell, back to Bell. Bell switching play. Good play here from Wigan now. Tony Smith, superb pass to Betts. Desperate defence here from the Eagles. Still Wigan pile on the pressure. McCormick gets it back to Paul. Paul on this side. Wigan have got a chance. Cowie going for the line. Still a metre from the line. Farrell going himself. Stuart Cummings looking very closely. He's held up. Quick decision from Mr. Cummings, and he doesn't want the back chat. Never want to listen to a player. One or two of the Wigan players questioning his decision there.
Andy Farrell was the one who complained. He believed he had got the ball down. He hasn't, though. It was a good decision looking at that replay. I think he landed actually right on his elbow. He didn't get the ball was tucked away close to his chest. As you can see there, it's held up, and Mark Aston puts his hand on it. That's a great call, that.
That's a superb decision. But can Sheffield weather the storm? Less than 15 minutes remaining. They lead by 17 points to 8. Tries to Pinckney, Crowther and Turner. But they've been on the line. Oh, that's another risky pass. They're tending to throw one or two over-ambitious passes at this stage in the game, Joe.
Dale Lawton back on the Eagles bench. Dale, it's a question of hanging on now, isn't it? We're going to be in overdrive.
Well, I think we've just lost plot a bit. We're not getting out of set of 6. We're losing it on 3rd and 4th tackle. We're not doing what we're winning game with. We're winning game with going forward, kicking into touch and making them work out. And we're just not doing that at minute.
Thanks, Dale.
Confident play there by Chris Radlinski. I don't think he was expecting the ball. But there's one man who wants the ball, Tony Smith now. And Wigan speeding up at the play of the ball. They've got a roll on. Eagles backpedaling. Andy Farrell. Betts. Got a couple of forwards with him. Gary Connolly. Good play from Connolly. Good ball to Robinson. There's danger here. Excellent tackle from Tywer. On the 5th tackle. Wigan are looking to move it again. Farrell decides he'll put one in at the corner. The pressure's on Crowther here. It's still Wigan's ball. Lee Gilmore. Back to Tony Smith. He'll have a dart at those posts. Superb play from Smith. Oh, the danger is over again. And still Sheffield Eagles hang on.
Martin Wood it was who pulled that tackle off there. Smith was so close to going over. Wood dug himself in there, lifted Smith up, lifting him off his feet to put him back.
Keith Senior. "12 minutes between Sheffield Eagles and glory. 12 minutes between Wigan snatching back the trophy. Could it still be a record points comeback by the Wigan Warriors? This is still anybody's Challenge Cup. Mark Aston sensibly once again putting the kick down that touchline, and that will waste precious seconds, and it eats up the yards, Joe.
It eats up the yards. I don't know if you noticed, he scattered a load of pigeons. That shows how often Sheffield have been in Wigan's half. They've been camped down in their own half. They put their kick in just to relieve pressure there.
Worrying times for the two coaches there, John Keir and John Mooney. Both of them know now everything, all the plans are entirely in the players' hands. Dale Lawton coming back on. And Terry O'Connor for his first taste of the action. Henry Paul now fully and happily recovered from that nasty knock to the shoulder.
They're still gang tackling.
Paul Broadbent just having a breather. He must be really tired to want to come off at this stage, Joe.
Well, I don't think he'll have wanted to come off. It would have been a call from John Keir just to put some fresh legs on again, change the tempo.
A high tackle. Andy Farrell not very happy with that tackle from Michael Jackson. Definitely above the shoulder.
Careless tackle by Michael Jackson. Sticks out the arm, catch him in the face. There's no doubt it's a penalty.
And it puts even greater pressure on his teammates. 10 minutes remaining. O'Connor, number 16, charging in. Henry Paul again. Still the Sheffield Eagles defence holds. McCormack. Andy Farrell puts the long pass to Radlinski. He can't hold it, but he picks it up, but a knock on.
I don't think I've ever seen so many angling errors by Wigan. Again, the ball down by Radlinski. Couldn't keep it, couldn't hold the pass. It was a long pass, but there should have been really a centering onto that one, not Chris Radlinski on the wing. It was Simon Horton that ducked out of the way.
Sheffield, of course, mindful that Wigan need to score at least twice to win this match. And Wigan really do have to move that ball around, and that causes handling errors at this stage like that, Joe.
12-6, double the amount for Wigan.
Good burst there by Paul Carr. Savata Moore. Matt Crowther. Rod Doyle. The Eagles forwards really need to come back in this game now. Oh, with charging runs like that. Tremendous burst there by Dale Lawton. Keith Senior. Aston with that ball again. He's looking for another drop kick. Not this time. Well worth the effort though, I think, Jung.
Yes, this is the first real chance they've had down here for the last, well, certainly 10-15 minutes. Was worth the 1 point attempt. Doesn't quite catch it right.
Simon Horton did well to get across there. I think he put him off. He lost his concentration, didn't he? Henry Paul, what's needed now is well, that's not needed. Interference at the play of the ball. And certainly, Joe, if Sheffield are to win this game, they need discipline now, don't they, around the rucks. They cannot keep allowing Andy Farrell to put this ball down the touchline.
They can't, but what they're trying to do, Sheffield, is just break up Wigan's momentum. They have this roll on, as you've mentioned. They're making yards every time they take the ball. Here's Simon Horton making 10.
Wigan advancing. Radlinski. Back inside to Farrell. Again, well held by Dale Lawton. Little dart there from Cassidy. McCormack. Henry Paul. Jinks one way, dances the other. So Sheffield shuffling across. On the fifth tackle, McCormack puts it out wide. Farrell. Well, he was expecting, I think, a second row runner to come from deep there, but still Wigan in possession. Still using it. Back to Radlinski. They've got some space down this near side. McCormack again. Back to Farrell. This is good quality rugby here from Wigan. Oh, not a quality pass.
It was the last tackle. They decided to keep the ball alive and pass it rather than put the kick up. It didn't come off though. One pass too many.
Sheffield will hold this ball. They'll settle for safety first tactics here. The minutes are ticking down, less than 6 minutes remaining. Dale Lawton had a good game, this big, powerful prop. Surely must be a contender for Great Britain honours. Aston forcing Bell back. And surely I think he must be a contender for the man of the match Lance Todd Trophy, Joe.
I think so. His organisation skills today have been used to full effect. He's passing, he's probed with the ball, but he's also kicked very, very well, very intelligent. He had a knock which really hesitated and halted him in that first half, stopped him really taking control and kicking. But since he recovered from that, he's been exceptional.
And the Eagles have put Martin Wood on. They've put him on for his tackling ability. He's a great tackler. Dave Watson's come off, so John Keir knows what he has to defend now.
Good tackle there from Nick Pinkney. Wigan know they have to move this ball from one wing to the other. Jason Robinson now. Can he make a dramatic intervention here? Less than 5 minutes remaining. Dave Watson and Michael Jackson there sitting on the bench, just wondering what will happen. Wigan still calling the shots here. Andy Farrell. Back to Connolly. Solid tackle there from Paul Carr. He's hunted the cherry and white all afternoon. Tony Smith, McCormack, Chris Redlinski. Can't get away. Another good defensive stint there from Fetu Taiwo. Robinson. Superbly judged there by Mark Aston. Not a smile on John Keir's face, but inside there he must know he's so near to glory.
Only 3.5 minutes left right now before this hooter goes. It must seem an age for both sets of players. Wigan desperate to try and get a try quickly and turn things around. And Sheffield just desperate to hang on. Once again, they put the kick in, turning Wigan round. And here's the man, Jason Robinson, to bring it back and try and make some ground. Great chase.
Sensible tactics there from Martin Wood. Paul Broadbent, the skipper, he's excited. He wants to get back on that pitch, but Danny Moore battling away for Wigan. 17 points to 8 for the Eagles. Less than 3 minutes remaining. And it looks to me as if we have the shock of the Rugby League Challenge Cup.
Henry Paul about to set off. Decided what he was going to do before he actually collected the ball, left it behind. Another error by Wigan. Mark Aston has been named as the Lance Todd Trophy winner. Those kicks, those probing runs and passes have really dictated that decision. It was probably his last chance, we predicted before today, to make a name for himself on the big stage.
Martin Wood playing in the standoff role. He's accustomed to that in his younger days. Keith Senior. Sheffield will just want to keep the ball and the play down here. The seconds are ticking down. Less than 2 minutes remaining. Crowther. Sheffield looking for further points to clinch it. Paul Carr driving in. He's a strong lad. Mr. Cummins says he's held up. Right on the spot there, the witness referee. He knows every blade of grass here at Wembley. His third successive performance here.
He was on the spot, used the in-goal judge as well. Sheffield won't be too bothered though, not picking up 4 points from that. They have possession, the clock is ticking down, and they have another set of 6 tackles in which to attack Wigan.
I don't think the Eagles will be too bothered as long as they stay down here. The shot for Senior there. But still Wigan battling away on the line. With 1 minute remaining in the Challenge Cup as Lawless tries for honour. Every one of these Eagles now straining to get over that line, to clinch this game. Aston to Wood, to Savatabur, but he's lost it. And a forward pass. But this scrum will count the seconds down. There we see a forward. And surely now, Sheffield Eagles must rank as the greatest outsiders in the history of the Challenge Cup. I well remember Featherstone beating Hull in 1983 by 14 points to 12. They were 4-1 on odds with the bookmakers. Lee beat Leeds in the 70s. Could this be the glory for Sheffield? And there is the Sheffield chairman. Just look at him. He knows success is so near. And there it is. It's all over. Sheffield Eagles. And the chairman there, Tim Wood, is absolutely delighted, as are those Eagle fans and the players. They have created history, and that's the man who's done it, John Keir, the Sheffield Eagles coach. And they can't believe it. An incredible performance.
Absolutely fantastic by Sheffield. They've come here as massive underdogs. I spoke to the Sheffield coaching staff, particularly John Keir, during the week. He said he was confident. He said he'd come here, he had a few game plans that he had to put into place. He was confident in his players' ability. They were happy to play the role of the underdogs, sneak in almost unnoticed and take away the trophy, and that's what they've done this afternoon. They must be delighted. The Wigan players look shell-shocked now. They're sitting down on the grass. You know, it's a horrible place to lose this.
Andy Farrell there being magnanimous in defeat. He's known glory here. He's taken home Cup winners' medals, and so has that man. The first defeat in the Challenge Cup for John Boney.
John Keir, congratulations. I know you said before the game that you were confident. Can you believe this, really?
Yes, because we've worked very, very hard indeed. Those players have done everybody proud. They've worked so hard. We believed we could do it. We were controlled, we were focused, and you put that with work and it equals win, and we've deserved it.
But with half an hour to go, Wigan went into overdrive and the defence held magnificently.
Yeah, a team like Wigan are always going to put you under the cosh at some stage, but we played so well there that we were always going to defend for our lives. We're very much as one as a team, and it's a very special day for myself, for the players, for the people in the back of Sheffield and for the city of Sheffield. It's quite nice.
And a great day, particularly for Paul Broadbent and Mark Aston, who've been here so long with Eagles.
Yeah, they've been through the thin times. It's nice to have some success now, so we'll have a little bit of a smile and we'll enjoy this. Thanks very much.
Congratulations, John. Well done.
Thank you.
John Keir, the first British coach since Mal Reilly to coach a cup-winning side here at Wembley in '86. Alex Murphy, Doug Lawton and Phil Larder tried to wrestle the cup from the Australian or Kiwi coaches. John Keir has done it, Joe. Tremendous performance.
I think he summed it up well there. It's team effort. They've worked so hard for it. As I mentioned, they came here quietly. They didn't make any bold predictions of what they were going to do, but they were confident in their own ability. They have worked hard, and I think they really forced Wigan into making mistakes, making errors, put them on the back foot. Mark Aston's kick in, the man of the match, the Lance Todd Trophy winner, has done a fantastic job.
Mark Aston, Lance Todd Trophy, man of the match. Mark, I asked John Keir, do you believe it?
I believe, mate. We believed from day one. I told you it was the year of the underdogs. We've believed since we got through the semi-final. Through hard work and determination, we've got to the top. It doesn't matter about the man of the match, but that's dictated to all the boys, dedicated to all the boys, all the fans, everybody. It's the happiest day of my life. Yeah, baby.
Let's have a word with Paul Broadbent. Congratulations, Paul. I mean, this is the end of a very long road, isn't it, for you and for Eagles?
Well, it's 11 years for me, 14 years for a lot of the fans that's come down and watched us. It's absolutely brilliant, absolutely out of this world. It's just, the boys, we had belief in ourselves. Everybody kept putting us down and saying that we couldn't do it, but we knew in our own minds. We've been saying all along that our name were on that cup, destiny. The call we've had is 98, it's our cup, and it's ours.
It was a team performance, but that second half try by Darren Turner was crucial, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it were. He's a great player, is Rocky. He's come through the ranks. He's been at Sheffield for quite a long time now.
and it couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. He really deserves it. I think every one of them. We've not had a lot of success in this time, but I'm sure we're going to cherish this today.
Go and get your medal. Congratulations.
Yes, as Dick says there, and Paul Broadbent, 11 years with the Eagles. It's been a long, long wait, but I'm sure he will enjoy himself tonight. And that gentleman there will look back on those photographs with pleasant memories in many years to come. Sheffield Eagles created history. It's just 14 years since the club was founded. Their first visit to Wembley and their first cup win. Surely the greatest upset in Challenge Cup history. Wigan, one or two of the players look quite stunned. I think deep down, Joe, they must have felt they had the better of Sheffield for this final.
I think they were obviously very, very confident. They have the ability, they have the track record. They came here to Wembley, 14 consecutive wins under the belt. They are a team that's used to the occasion. They've been here so often in the not too distant past. Maybe, just possibly, overconfident. I know it's hard to say.
Well, Sheffield, the winners, greeting John Keir like the long-lost friend. 74 amateur club captains set out on that Wembley trail last December. 31 professional skippers joined them in February. And very shortly, the one remaining Paul Broadbent of Sheffield Eagles will mount the steps. There he is, to receive the trophy from the Right Honourable Chris Smith, the Secretary of State for the Department of Culture, Media and Sport. And I don't think there's ever been a happier skipper. Sheffield to lift the Silk Cut Challenge Cup trophy for 1998 for the first time in their history. Sheffield Eagles, the cup winners. And John Money, a round of applause. He's been through success and failure. Tim Adams, the chairman, he said to me last week, you know, an outsider can win a race, and the outsider has won for him. Mark Aston, tremendous performance and a winner of the Lance Todd Trophy. Matt Crowther and Keith Senior did so much as well in the earlier rounds to keep Sheffield ticking away, kept picking up the tries and putting the hard tackles in. Rod Doyle from Australia and Fetu Taiwa from New Zealand. Truly a cosmopolitan side. Savatabur, Vaisali Savatabur from Fiji. Paul Carr from Australia. Darren Shaw. Joe, I don't think they can hardly believe it.
Those players come, they've prepared well for it, they deserve it.
Tom Smith, the president of the Rugby Football League, just shaking a hand or two there. Dave Watson, tremendous work in defence, getting a pat on the back again from the Sheffield chairman. And Michael Jackson, he's not letting go of that trophy. £60 it cost way back in 1897. Andy Farrell tastes defeat for the first time. But it takes two sides to make a contest, and Wigan always make a contest of it here when they're at Wembley. An excellent second half performance from them, but just not quite enough. Jason Robinson, Tony Smith, the losers medal with Castleford. Chris Rudlinski, his first appearance in a cup final. Mark Bell, he was looking forward to this day so much. And Danny Moore from Manly in Sydney, Australia. Robbie McCormick had a good spell around the Aptin halfback. And Dennis Betts, his first loss, Joe, in any cup round.
That's a phenomenal record that he holds there. I'm sure today he expected to come here and be a victor walking up those steps, but it wasn't to be. They'll have to sit there and really analyse it and go through it all. It's very, very hard to do. It's going to be an awful long night tonight for those Wigan players.
Linton stopped the substitute, just looking after the young ones. And as the music belts around this Wembley Stadium, the Sheffield Eagles fans, naturally enough, delighted. But tactically, Joe, that was how they won it for me. The kicking game.
Yeah, they just forced Wigan to make mistakes. They turned around constantly with their kicks. The people like Carr there, Paul Carr, who had a fantastic game on defence. You mentioned during the game that he was hunting down the cherry and whites of Wigan, and that's all he did all afternoon. I mean, he was there to take the ball when required, but like the rest of his teammates, he was willing to put himself out in defence. They pushed themselves around the field, closed Wigan's options down, and really did a superb job. Every man of Sheffield has put their heart on the sleeve and really got into battle here today to back the faith that the coach has had in them and the preparation that he's instilled in them.
It's been a long struggle in those 14 years for Sheffield to gain credibility in the Steel City, but surely they've done that today. Twice they were almost out of the Rugby League. They were within a couple of pounds of bankruptcy, but no longer now. As John Keir said earlier this week, this is the beginning of a future, and it really is for Rugby League in Sheffield. Sovata, Fijian Rugby Union and Rugby League International. And the losers plod their weary way. Joe, a tremendous kickstart now for Sheffield for the season.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, they haven't had the best start to it so far, winning one of the 4 games. But John Keir was confident that they prepared well for this game in particular. They've done that, they've won this one, and as you said, they'll kick ahead now for the season with confidence.
We talked about the introduction, Joe, of sports psychology and the use of it before the match with these Sheffield players. There's no doubt about it, they came into this game confident, didn't they?
Well, Robbie McCormick, I mean, this is a big disappointment for Wigan, for you too, because you're only here for a season, really, aren't you?
Yeah, it is. It's you know, something I always wanted to come here and hopefully get a win, but today wasn't to be the day. Sheffield just played too good for us today.
Do you think that last half hour, when Wigan seemed to go into overdrive, you really had a chance then?
Oh, for sure we had a chance, but it was just they defended well. We made too many mistakes, and you know, a game like this, every team's up on it, and we weren't up for today.
How much was it pressured into making mistakes? Because it's uncharacteristic for Wigan to make that many.
It was. I think we're just trying too hard. Like, we had 40 minutes to get back, and you know, there's only what, 10 or 11 points difference, so we knew we could come back, but you know, at the end of the day, it's drop ball, and we made plenty of that.
Commiserations, Robbie. Thanks very much.
Yeah, it's a bad one.